been a motorboat day. So highlights were snuck out nice early, flat seas, beautiful motoring conditions, enjoyed life. Then got fooled, raised the main, the Genoa, then got schooled, had to put them both away, then got scared by the two orcas, and now I just can't get a break in terms of the wind. I guess it's kind of what was forecast, just a little lighter than that. And my apparent winds are just bouncing around zero. So, and because of that, I've slowed the boat down, motoring many fewer revs. So I'm at 1500 revs, which means I'm barely making 5 knots, sometimes 4.5. But hopefully that means I have enough fuel in case I have 2 days of these types of conditions. At around 10:30 local time, I'll find out the next weather, and that may allow me to put a couple more revs on. Got these kind of low-lying clouds. And over there, you probably can't see it, but is a ship. And these are all the ships that are coming up the coast of Portugal. I'm now in Portugal. So there's your update. You know, this being a sailing channel, we'll try to get some sailing done tomorrow. I think I'll be motoring all night, which I'm fine by. And what do? Well, you can see, let's do a little spy on Jason. But basically, first, let's notice the beautiful rug that you have when you come in. Oh. Yes, the Cyclops doormat. Okay. And then I just pile up my bowlies here in case I need them. And there's my setup for sleeping. Not a very complicated thing. And right from there, I can look over and see the chart plotter, radar, and all the targets. Secondly, I can have it all served up to my iPad. I think it's time to get some more drink. Thanks for the tour. I keep scurrying on deck in hope of putting up some sail area, but no such luck. I saw the breeze tick to 5 knots and I got really excited. Except it's coming pretty much from astern, so my apparent wind was 1.5 knots. We're gonna have a sunset in a few hours. We're looking out now at the shipping lane. Here are these guys heading up to Northern Europe from maybe the Med or somewhere else. And we are still no sails at all, just not worth it. The masthead fly, when it's doing 180s, you know putting a sail up will just cause grief. It's funny, with all the fancy instruments, it's always better just to actually look at the masthead fly or my courtesy flag from Spain, which I can take down, but not in the mood. Dinner, sandwich, and a delightful chocolate pudding. What a treat. What a fancy lifestyle to have that. Let's go look at the sky over here. I don't know if you can see it well on the camera, but I find that quite gorgeous. Going back to sailing things for a second. Right now I have the boom very low because I was working on that pesky outhaul. And I don't like it when it's that low because it wants to decapitate me. And I like to keep my capot attached to my shoulders. I felt a puff. Ooh, this is what gets me going. Then I raise the sails and then take it down 5 minutes later. Let's go look at the instruments. And the instruments are telling me that the apparent wind speed is 2.3. And yeah, we're still getting a crazy loopy. If we just got a few more knots of breeze, I could put a sail on. But you want to give it a few minutes. It's got to hold for a bit. Okay, major change in operations. Still have the motor on, but look what's on. One huge mainsail and the matching Genoa. As the British call it, the white sails, but my Genoa is not white. But that's great. What did it do? It gave me over a half a knot, maybe 7/10 of a knot increase in speed. All we have is 7 knots of breeze coming from 145, but the apparent's more like from the beam. And look, I need that extra half knot. Need it big time. So, because it makes my fuel go farther. Gonna get my new weather report probably in half an hour. I've got a lot of ships to just sort of keep tabs on, but That stuff I'm pretty comfortable with. See you guys soon. We're now becoming a sailboat. Almost every long distance sail these days has a Starlink. I tried to go with the Iridium. It's more expensive, it's slower, and has, turns out, pretty poor customer service. So I used to have an Iridium, and I liked it because it just doesn't bring the world inside. But just before leaving Vigo, it decided to stop working. It won't connect, and the service just was like one question. Anyway, I won't have a big whinge, but I bought this at an impulse buy, good deal. And you can see my complicated install. You just basically tie it down when you're using it, and then the wire goes inside and runs off the inverter. So I only put it on 2 times a day to get weather. But how great is it? I just got off a phone call with Gail. It's so neat to be that connected. I don't want to be so connected that I'm checking the stock market and the baseball scores and stuff like that. But right now, I have to go down because Lady Ann Lynn is a problem. You know, it's a close crossing situation. I may have to give us a few more revs. Well, the optimists were right. Look what happened. We not only have the mainsail up and the Genoa up. There it is. And we have a big ship heading towards us, which you probably can't see. And there's another ship. But the excitement right now is, well, we got sunset coming. But we are 100% under sail power, and my ears are so thankful. Now I think the breeze might poop out a little bit after sunset, and we might have to turn the engine back on, but in the interim, let's enjoy the peace and quiet. I'm on deck to enjoy the sunset, but I can't help nerding out about sunsets. So there's 3 of them. There's the civil sunset, the nautical, and the astronomical. And they're judged by how many degrees the sun is below the horizon. I wonder which one we have right now. When doing celestial navigation and trying to do shots of stars, it's important to take it when it's most dark to see the star, but still light enough to see the horizon. This would be good conditions. Still fighting the shipping lane traffic. I've had a very favorable wind shift. Right now the wind is 354. It was closer to 25, which was sending me off to the wild blue yonder. But now I'm threading it between 2 ships, and then I'm hoping to take a longer nap next. So here's a little flavor for what night watch is like. Many sailors, when they first start doing longer passages, dread the night watch. I live in both camps. I really enjoy the quiet and peace at night, but when the sun comes back up, I'm always excited to see it. On this night, the compass glow guided me around the cockpit. The moon was like a beacon beckoning me to head to Madeira. When I do have deck work at night, I have wonderful lights that make the entire foredeck illuminated. And recently, I've been leaving on the red lights in the interior to make the transition more comfortable in the eyes. Practice and technology do make overnight sails much more comforting. I'm now going to go down below and figure out my path between a bunch of ships. I've configured my chart plotter such that my ship and all other ships have a heading line that lasts 30 minutes. So that way you can quickly analyze who's a dangerous vessel. We're coming up on deck a little bit before sunrise. Always exciting to see a bit of sunrise. We're on deck because the boat's going too slowly and we got to sort that out. But there's the peaking of morning. This is day 3. And can't tell because it's too dark if those clouds are going to give me some wind or not. A couple things to notice how I leave the boat. You can see that's the furling line for the Genoa, so if a squall were to come along, I'd be one step ahead away of furling it. And right next to it is the main halyard already flaked and ready to go. Then next to that are the staysail and Genoa sheets in kind of a jumbly mess. But that's kind of how I like to leave it. Some other things to notice are I leave my boom light on during the night. And that just means when you have to rush out on deck, it's already light, you're sort of already acclimated to what's going on. Looking aft, that's the Wattensee. It's up in the right now, but it has its control lines there. I'm gonna drop that pretty soon. There's the Iridium antenna, which is in the doghouse. Starlink is so much better. I'm not sure I'll include this in the video because it's a bit personal, but you know, I get really emotionally exhausted running Cyclops. Maybe it's the pressure of the bigger passages. Maybe it's because I'm in a foreign country. I'm not sure why, but it's like a pit in my stomach sometimes, and it's tough. Like when I was leaving Vigo, the starter battery not working and getting one, and the stress of that, and then the I bought a new thruster battery, but some genius changed the posts on it, and so I have to change my lugs. It creates a bunch of weight. And at the same time, I enjoy the YouTube channel, but it's just another weight, something else I have to do. And so you guys miss a lot of the action sometimes because I just say, screw it, I need to focus on, there's a problem, I'm not filming it, I don't do this for like clicks or income, or I do it to share, but I got to get busy sometimes with the boat, not with the cameras. So in this passage you missed a lot because I sort of was carrying this emotional weight, and then there were things I had to take care of that just had to be done. Well, let's go to some good news.
Good news is, after 24 hours of testing, the jibe preventer gets a big thumbs up. Next season I'm doing a final improvement where I lead the line to a winch through the organizer underneath the spray hood.
The other problem that I've been working on, the Autopilot, it's been great last couple seasons, but now maybe I got in bigger seas or I don't know what, it's being very finicky downwind. And so what I mean by finicky is going downwind, breeze is let's say 18 knots or so, and it starts just oversteering like an amateur yachtsman, which my understanding is the gain needs to be reduced. But to do that, it's really tough to do solo because the gain menu, you can't edit it unless the autopilot is not being used. So now I have a backup autopilot that I have to go down in the technical room, hand out its controller on deck, turn the power onto it, and that, I think the compass needs a little tuning because it's about 20 degrees off. But I was excited when I turned it on. I tested it just a few days ago, but when I turned it on, it worked well. It steered the boat in compass mode. It does not have wind. It only does compass, the backup. And so now I have to go and work on the primary. But I said, you know what? I got the basic concept that I can do this, but I'll do that tomorrow. I don't want to burn the whole battery down. So in the interim, I'm sailing a touch higher than I normally would. I'm gonna have to pay a little more attention. I'm using my remote control for the first time ever. So when I see there's been a wind shift, of course I have to change the boat. It's kind of ironic because I've been in compass mode for a long time, avoiding ships when I'm sleeping and things like that. Now I want to be in wind mode, and it doesn't work. So wind mode right now, it's asking for 139, giving 137. It's doing a great job. Best way to judge, I think, is just look at the stern, and it's just doing a great job. No issues, nice, and letting itself go. I'll read you the numbers. It's asking for 139, it's getting 139. This is perfect. This is 11 out of 10. Now it's got a puff. 139, 139. Things are going great. 137, 139, 137, 139. Now this is starting to go kung fu. 136, 139.
Hello, this is Jason from the future, and I want to deep dive into this problem I'm having with the autopilot. When I got back from New York City, I did some more research, and with the help of the B&G folks, I found the following online. B&G had done a recent update for the pilot computer. Following customer feedback and internal testing, we identified that during certain conditions, the auto trim setting within the pilot was having a detrimental effect to the weather helm algorithm when the condition occurred, the pilot would start to perform oscillating turns, which would increase over time. Discovering the solution for my problem was a relief. Now I have to install the new software when I get back to the boat. The problem with the autopilot might seem small and just a digital issue, but it's not. As a solo sailor, we count on our autopilots. You can't go to sea without one working well. Actually, that's why I have two. So when I started to have this systematic problem of pretty violent turns caused by the autopilot, I started to lose faith in my solo mission. Well, now the problem's fixed. Faith is back. But I'll confess, during the middle of this passage, I did send a friend a note and asked whether he wanted to join me in the Transat. Luckily, after I got back to New York City and I was calmed down, I retracted the invitation. The autopilot problem was not the only reason I asked for help. There's a second incident that occurred on the leg from Madeira to Tenerife. I was approaching Tenerife, and it's known that there's a compression zone between the island of Tenerife and Gomera. And at this spot, it is very likely that you'll encounter winds 30 knots or 40 knots. And so, in anticipation of arriving in this area, I tucked in my third reef. However, when I eased the main halyard, it did not budge an inch. And this is not something that I had encountered before. It took 30 minutes of experimenting, 3 trips to the mast, and a large wave falling on my head, and the problem was solved. One of the bat cars had hooked one of the lazy jacks and was preventing the mainsail from dropping. Of course, all this is taking place at midnight with very little visibility. Thankfully, I had a spotlight to help solve the problem. A quick ease of the lazy jack, and the problem was cured. When there's a stressful incident on board, I go through 3 phases. The first phase, I'm working the problem and not thinking about the stress. The second phase, after the problem is solved, is I realize that I was in a tough spot and my confidence is shaken. And then the third phase, when the dust is settled and the boat's tied back up, I actually gain confidence from the problem, realizing I'm pretty good at solving problems at sea. During the confidence shaken period, but before the confidence increased period, is when I made my invitation to have a partner for the Transat.
Okay, now it's time to make some breakfast. Let's go have some breakfast. Maybe I'll try to get a little more sleep in. That's what I'll do. Big old evergreen ship is out there. That one's related to the guy that are owned by the same company that put their ship across the Suez Canal sideways and stopped the canal from working. So these guys have been passing me for a while. There's about 3 of them that are going southbound, and there's another 3 of them that are going northbound. But this camera's not so good at showing ships.